Brews and Banter.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Roman, how are you?
Doing great. We have Payton with us. Payton, you want to introduce yourself and we'll dive in?
Hi, my name is Payton Jackson, and I am excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you for sure.
Absolutely. Payton, so Frank was online and he followed a little bit of your previous campaign and he learned of you, and we thought it would be interesting to hear your story. And we reached out, and thank you for being available to do this with us. And just kind of introduce yourself, let people know who Payton is, where you come from and how you got inspired to get involved into politics.
Of course. Well, again, my name is Payton Jackson. Originally, I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. After Hurricane Katrina, my family migrated from Baton Rouge to South Dallas. I finished out elementary, middle school, and high school in the surrounding cities of Dallas. And a few years ago, around 2020, 2021, I decided to move to Fort Worth after I completed my bachelor's in accounting. But during that time frame, the last 2 years of my accounting degree is when I jumped into real estate. I started with Airbnb, regular long-term tenants, travel nurses, and then I ended up only exclusively working with Section 8. And that passive income allotted me the time to find my passion. Mm-hmm. And my passion is speaking. Recently, I went viral for giving a speech explaining to the world, well, really, it was just city council, on why I refuse to identify as a Democrat. And being my skin color, it did not, it's not normal to say, shall I say. And now I'm running for office.
Excellent. You also have athletic background.
I do. So I played basketball just a little, but I also did a little track and volleyball.
Mm-hmm. Did any of the team working from athleticism helped you with team working in like politics?
No. Now the right answer would have been yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, honesty, please.
Well, there's no wrong answers on this podcast.
Yeah.
No, so I pride myself in telling the truth, whether it's politically correct or not. But while teamwork is and team bonding and building is very important, not just for teams, but just for like a general setting, it makes sense that you would come to that conclusion. But it's really feuding with politicians that got me active politically, going through policies, going through bills, seeing what they're doing at the state level, locally, and at the federal level is just disgusting to me. So that's why I decided to throw my hat in the ring.
So that happened during your real estate career when you decided, I want to get involved into politics and make a change?
Yes.
And is there something specific, like a specific event that triggered that?
So what originally got me going, what embraced me to actually start to begin to read legislation and bills, the TikTok ban. As childish as that sounds, it was a TikTok ban that really embraced me to begin to go onto Congress.gov. Mm-hmm. But it got me reading bills on what our Congress members are doing in Washington.
Yeah, there was a few years back, there was a trend where a lot of people were questioning Congress's position and power and I guess manipulation of certain things where I don't remember the name of the congressman at the time, but it was a talk about it's not fair for them to be involved in stock market because they, dictate. And
that's happening now. Yeah.
Right. But there was one of the congressmen said, if we didn't have an opportunity to do this, then nobody would want to be in the position. So it was kind of like, are you kidding me? I couldn't believe it that he said that.
Somebody said that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's surprising, but it's not really surprising at this point. But I mean, at least they're telling the truth, which is something that I can respect. But I would love to see some type of legislation introduced where our Congress members are banned from participating in the trading of stocks, because if you know what's going to happen to a company or certain companies before the American people do, how is that fair?
That's right.
Which I'm a trader, I'm an investor myself, but I'm willing to give it up if I do win the seat, or when I do win the seat.
Yeah, if you're in the position to serve the public, it's not fair to take advantage of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. So we know some of your background and what you stand for. No taxing with Jackson, but we also saw a lot of things we agree with: term limits, things like this. And I know you're big in education and affordable housing, and there's sort of a encompassing background that is going to really affect and hopefully persuade positively voters when you kind of get that message out to more people than you are now.
Right. And my background is something that, while at one time I once shied away from because it's not the most glamorous background, but it's something that I take pride in now, because although I respect Maslow's pyramid, it doesn't necessarily prove true in my story. I mean, I'm not a product of my environment. I was raised in a Section 8 household. I was begged to get on the Section 8 wait list. And I went from being a Section 8 tenant under, my mom to now being a Section 8 landlord. And if more of our society participates in dismantling or shying away from the crippling system under our welfare guidelines, I mean, I feel like the world would be a much more prosperous state or place.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, I can relate. I come from a family that we were also on Section 8. And I think people need to understand that Section 8 is something to help you get on your feet and get to the successful level to veer off of Section 8, so then that money can be used for the next family that needs help. And, we were definitely helped. It helped us to get through it so that, all my siblings can get to the point where go through education, get a career, and move on and get off of Section 8. And it's a helpful program.
I agree. It's a helpful program until it's not. Like you said, we should create or edit the program, reform the program to have some type of a timeline. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we have other people to help. Like right now in the city of Fort Worth and Tarrant County, we have an 8-year waiting list for housing. And while I understand that some people are in need, how are we to help the next person in line if we have family A holding up family B simply because they don't want to let go of that rent reduction?
And I wish that there was no dependence on that, like a heavy dependence on that, because I feel like some people don't have the drive because they are comfortable with just enough, and then there is no drive to move out of it so that those other funds can get allocated to someone else. And there might be families who are on Section 8 with maybe older folks, and then the kids should kind of get off at least the program.
Right.
That way there's less members under it, and, funds can go to next younger generation that needs that help,
I agree.
Yeah. And so with your campaign of no tax, what is like your structure? Like, what was your plan to implement with this no tax, and how would that work?
Income tax you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So originally I wanted to eliminate property taxes. I'm a real estate investor. So the fact that we're taxing housing while also at the same time saying that we're in a housing crisis or a rental crisis, it just didn't set well with me. But now I'm running for a federal seat, which is, again, federal. So I don't really have much control over property taxes. people can advocate for that at a state or a local level. But my plan on a federal level is to eliminate income tax. Mm-hmm. A lot of people say, well, when was America ever great? Whenever they hear Trump or Trumper saying, make America great again. Well, my answer to that is when we stood up to taxes. Mm-hmm. Minimum wage is $7.25. Minimum wage should be over $30 an hour. And I calculated that by looking at the average rental in my Metroplex. So in a DFW, the average rental is $1,500. To afford that, you need 3 times the amount of rent, which is $4,500 times 12. That's a little over $50,000. Mm-hmm. Why are we taxing income? Why? Why? We can literally tax anything else. Why are we taxing income? So a lot of people will say, well, if we don't tax income, how are we going to pay the bills that we need to pay? Well, Trump is doing an amazing job. Trump and Elon they're doing an amazing job in cutting wasteful spending. Mm-hmm. That's start number one. Start number two is we have to, or step number two, we have to admit that we shouldn't be taxing the average taxpayer. I mean, it's just insane. Not just income tax, but also property taxes. How is that not theft?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I understand that we have things to pay, but at what point in time do we draw the line?
I feel like there's got to be a formula that works, right? So if you cut the taxes, you raise minimum wage. If you raise minimum wage, that income can go towards rent, local expenses. So then local businesses get to benefit as well. And to have more local spending, you need local manufacturing. So there's got to be like a formula, right? Let me know if I'm understanding this correctly. So if you lower the taxes, the minimum wages can go up. Where does all this money go? Well, that circulates within the country, and that's where the taxes can be collected on maybe goods that could pay for things.
Right. But I think the thing that's championed our nation the most, especially with economics, is the trickle down method, which, if you ask me, it doesn't really work. Now, I am all for advocating for an increase on minimum wage, but that's a super hard sell. I think it'll be more easier to advocate for the elimination of income tax. And that still raises red flags more so with Democrats or anyone who just loves to pay taxes. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely doable. I understand that we have bills to pay, we have things to take care of, but we can literally tax anything that's not essential. And that's my plan, is to get rid of income tax completely, while at the same time finding another tax revenue, just not anything essential. Like food, we need food. Mm-hmm. Gas, we need gas. So let's not tax anything essential, but we definitely do need to find alternative routes when it comes to tax revenue.
I mean, we can tax foreign countries that want to do business here. Give them.
Are.
Yeah.
Tariff, yeah.
And that may be a way. And this is already a part of Trump's plan: the no tax on overtime, the no tax on tips, and he recently said no tax on overtime. Now, as a president, even though he is the president, he does have limitations. So he does need help from Congress, but it's definitely doable. It's doable. And maybe, I don't know this for sure, but maybe the revenue from those tariffs will help reduce the need for another tax revenue.
You were talking about how difficult it is to raise minimum wage, but if the taxes are cut, shouldn't that be an easier sale to sell that? Like, look, let's raise minimum wage now that you don't have to pay the income tax.
Congress. So every bill that I introduce, I'll need support on. If not, it just sits there. Mm-hmm. So the real question is, shouldn't it be a good sale to our current politicians? Absolutely. But is it? Especially when they have major corporations in their pockets. I mean, think about this. Major corporations, 500 plus employees, they're now being mandated to increase minimum wage by 2-3 times the amount it originally was. That's a hard sell. I'm not against it, but everything that I do in Congress, I'll need support behind to actually get anything done.
Mm-hmm.
This unmentionable governor out in California, he's trying to get the minimum wage to be $30 an hour. I think they just passed something like in the tourism industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's got to go further, but something happened where it's kind of progressing through.
That's in California?
Yep.
Interesting.
I haven't heard of that, but I will look it up.
Yeah. I think I just read it today, but.
Now, I don't know what $30 an hour would do in California, but $30 an hour in Texas would definitely help.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I visited cities like, Chicago, New York City, LA, and the cost of living there is so high. And when I see all these people there, right, I'm like, how do you pay to like live here?
Well, not even how, but why? Why do you want to be there?
It's so
I
expensive.
definitely agree. Like, I would love to go to New York. I would love to go to Cali, but I can't afford it. I don't even like Texas prices, let alone Cali and New York. So yeah, I agree.
But we like the Texas gun laws.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, mine's in the car. I left it in the car because I had to run in. But yeah, usually I carry mine wherever I go. I love Texas gun laws.
Well, New York is so restrictive; it's ridiculous.
I heard talks about like a universal permit that across all the states.
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I mean it was part of Trump's plan. So I don't know. I mean, his first term he tried to do it, but there was all this other bullshit about trying to the steel or the all these Russian collusion and all this other bullshit.
Oh, okay.
So they wasted all this time, but I think it's still in the books now, or in the works. I mean,
I hope so. So I didn't know about the plan, but is it a plan to make license nationwide, meaning we have the same gun laws for every state?
That's correct. Yeah, that's what. So because right now, I mean, it's almost impossible, I suppose, in like California and Maryland and in Chicago or Illinois.
Yeah.
So I think the. But so here again, he'd make this sort of universal permit. If you have one in one state, it's good in all the states. But now the states can be more restrictive than the government, and they can still say, it's not going to work in our state.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I feel like we should have a federal law, and if I have the power to do it, I would love to introduce something like this. But I am not a fan of each state having different gun laws. I think we should be all on one page when it comes to our Second Amendment.
I feel like you get a driver's license and you can drive your car through any state. It should be the same. Like, just attach that to your driver's license. So if the police officer pulls you over, scans your license, or looks up your plates, can see that, oh yeah, he does have or she does have concealed carry. And I mean, maybe for peace of mind or for their own safety, it's nerve-wracking. I can't imagine being a police officer pulling over a car and you don't know what they might do, right? So totally understand the risk that every police officer is taking. And every time you pull over a car, you see those videos where they walk up to the window and get shot. It's like, but if it's on a driver's license, they can at least be a little more cautious. And I've taken, handgun safety courses, and fortunate enough, there, some state troopers that were teaching the class also kind of helped us understand the behavior when you're getting pulled over by the police officer. Don't raise any flags to make them feel uncomfortable and nervous. Then you're kind of escalating. I was just pulled over the other day.
Put your windows down. You got to put your windows down when they come up.
I was just pulled over the other day, actually. We were recording here. I brought my car to service, and every time they do oil change or whatever, they turn my headlights from automatic to off. And I always leave it in automatic. So here I am pulling out of the parking lot at night. My headlights, they're on, but all the lights are not on. And the guy pulls me over, and I was like, what did I do? So I kept my hands on the steering wheel. I turned the light on and opened the window. Mm-hmm. He saw everything. He felt comfortable. He goes, I pulled you over because your lights are not on. I was like, what? So I look over. I'm like, oh, man, I just had it serviced. They must have turned it off. So he checked my license and said, make sure your lights are on and have a nice day. Mm-hmm. So thank you, officer. You know, just like those are the kind of things that people should know. And yeah, but anyways, I kind of veered off of it. Like, I feel like the driver's license would be
squirrel.
But yeah, that's where I was kind of going towards as far as that goes.
So your new campaign, I know. So there was just something in May that I don't believe you were victorious in.
I wouldn't say I wasn't. Well, I'll say I wasn't victorious, but I didn't lose anything.
Sure.
But I'm sorry. What was your question?
Now you're in 26. You want to be, a member of the House of Representatives. So what is that like for your campaign, and what do you think is going to generate enough votes for you to be able to secure that?
Well, number one, I'm not secluded to one city.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I've already ran for this congressional seat once. I was taken off of the ballot last minute because of petition signatures. But the difference between a city council seat or that city council seat versus going for a congressional district, I'm not secluded to one city or one district inside of one city. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I was actually raised in Dallas. So a lot of people know me in Dallas, and a lot of my support comes from Dallas. Now, if you go out and you knock on doors within the boundaries of District 33, and you ask the residents or your neighbors, hey, what do you want to see changed in your neighborhood? Or what, if you could make any law, what would it be? And then you go into a conversation questioning the 12-year incumbent. Mm-hmm. Well, outside of Fort Worth, which is where he's from, they don't know him. And District 33 holds 11 cities, 15 different school districts, 40 zip codes, and so much more. So the number one reason why I would be more successful in this race than in the last one, I'm not secluded to one city, one district inside of one city. I have 11 cities full of people with common sense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
What did you learn from your last run that you can use to benefit you in this next one?
What did I learn that I could use?
That you would do maybe different or apply different
and
tools.
We should mention that you're a registered independent, correctly? Or correct? Yeah.
Yes, I am registered as an independent, but I am conservative. Mm-hmm. What's one thing that I learned from the last race that I can use in this race? I would say the security of buying my way onto the ballot. When I ran for office the first time, I did petition signatures, mm-hmm. and that's how I was taken off of the ballot. Even though they had the paperwork for like 2 months, they came back a couple of months before Election Day, and mm-hmm. they said that I didn't have enough signatures. Mm-hmm. They said that I was 60 signatures short. So I would say the number one thing that I learned that I could use in this race, because I learned a lot from the last one, is the security of just buying your way onto the ballot. I thought that I was doing the appropriate thing, getting permission from the community by mm-hmm. way of signatures, but it's admirable. Mm-hmm. To me, it's not worth it. Mm-hmm. And it costs $3,000 to run for Congress. Yeah. So this fall or this winter, I'll be handing them $3,000. Sure. Unless I run as an independent. If I run as an independent, then I'll have to do the signatures mm-hmm. anyway. But that depends on Tarrant County and Dallas County GOP.
Do you have like a campaign manager or somebody that's working with you on a campaign?
I have a whole team.
Yeah. And you guys get like donations and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, funding is very important during
extremely
campaigns.
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels like it dictates how much you raise in order to get certain position.
And sometimes it is true. Money talks, because last time I ran for this seat out of nowhere, the incumbent decided to hand out checks. So even if what you just said wasn't true, meaning the more you raise, the more votes you get, the sad reality is certain members of the community, sometimes these are leaders of the community, these are nonprofits, these are pastors, these are churches. They can be bought out. And if we have a good percentage of the community either not coming out to vote, or who are ignorant enough to allow an organization or a community leader to tell you how to vote instead of you doing the research, then yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
People can be bought.
I was thinking more like where the funding would go is to get the message to the broader audience. The more, because it costs money to market, advertise, and things like that to get other people to know who you are, to know about you and what you stand for, and not be clouded by other messages.
While that is true, that's not the reality. Not in District 33, not in District 8. Really? When I say people are being bought off, people are being bought off.
Really? Like money in the pocket?
Money in the pocket, yes.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I've been doing this for quite a while now.
Yeah, that's too bad. I mean, really, because, for many reasons, it's just wrong, right?
It is, but I mean, I am a God-fearing woman, so I truly believe that nothing for me can ever be taken away. So whenever it's my time, it'll be my time, no matter the dollar amount against me.
Well, that's dedication. And I like that, like people get swayed in different direction by large media companies. And I've stopped watching or listening to some of these big outlets because how biased they are. Both sides. Yeah. I feel like I can't get fair information because of the corporate drive, right? And I have put most of my attention when it comes to politics and valuable information to independent journalists, to people who run podcasts that are educational or interesting, and I do a little more research. Well, I hate the word research because it sounds like it's very time consuming, right? Like, what do you mean? What do you mean research, right? So, but now with today's technology and AI tools, research it doesn't sound as complex and time consuming as it the word stands for. But just a little bit more time just to kind of like get a different view or different side of these news, and then have my own conclusion. Because they think that people are stupid. They're not stupid. You can. Yeah. But I'm saying like general public, right? Like that. In general, people don't just turn their blind eye to some of this important information.
But as a country, we want instant gratification. So people don't want to put in research, like you say. It's not a bad word, but they want to be able to turn the news, listen to it. Unfortunately, it's all this skewed, cable TV things that they hear, and that's what they believe. But these independent podcasts is what we listen to. These sort of journalists, and they don't have anybody to answer to. They don't have to support a big corporate company that's paying them. So, and that's where we're at now.
I agree.
Yeah,
but like you said, most people don't want to put in that legwork. And I don't want to say the average American is stupid. But if all you do is go by face value, especially when it comes to our major media, I mean, you're not going to get the truth. You have to type in keywords. You have to use AI. You have to use Google and other sites appropriately to make sure that what you're reading is credible.
Like the lies. Sorry, the lies are infuriating to me. Like it's unbelievable. Like for instance, like Biden was normal. That is just not the case. I mean, it was so plain to everybody, and now it's coming out that we were all right. So I don't understand. I don't care, what it is, if it's true or if it, if he was that way or not. Just be honest with the way he is. I can't stand how they spin and lie, and then they add on. They pile on the existing lie. They pile on to. I can't even believe this. That's why we drink beer.
Well, and I have one, but if they were to tell the truth, like let's just use Biden. If they were to tell the truth about Biden, they would have chanced someone else winning the primaries.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I get why they did it, yep. but we all, the majority, as the election proved, the majority realized that it was all bullshit.
Well, I think those lies cost the credibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like he said, even when they're caught, it's just lie on lie on lie on lie on lie. Yeah. You can't admit that you're lying because then you would just be a liar.
Yeah, right. No,
I mean, you're still a liar, but
see, Roman, she's talking to you.
Oh, know me already.
Oh no!
But so if you were to send a message to your local District 33 to changes you're planning on making, like, can you summarize your message? What your goals are in the drive, and what are you seeing? Like, if you take the seat, what are you going to work for towards them?
Of course, dear District 33. My face is not new to you. I seen you all, if not last year, the year before that, when I came to your door, either in the brutal winter or the scorching summer, asking for your signatures for my petitions. Originally, I wanted to get permission from the community to get on the ballot. Unfortunately, I was hit with a harsh reality on how hard it is being an independent in the state of Texas. Those petition signatures are a way to keep people like me off of the ballot. People who are grassroots, people who are not bought and sold, people who are not career politicians. And speaking of career politicians, I want to segue into my policy because that's what's most important. Number one, we need term limits. Number two, we should not be taxing income, and you have my full-fledged support to go down to city council, to go down to county commissioners, to go down to our Texas House and advocate for the elimination of property taxes. Number three, we need to defend our Second Amendment rights. Now, currently we have some people pushing to go away with gun-free zones, which I support unless it's something like a school. Mm-hmm. We need to secure our resources. So that brings me to number four. American resources belong to Americans. And while Trump, in my opinion, is doing a great job with securing our border, we have to stop the bleeding a little bit more. So when it comes to our housing, when it comes to our public schools, no illegal immigrant should have access to either one. Mm-hmm. Our public schools belong to our children, and our housing belongs to us. It is not fair for us as a country to say something like, oh, we're in a housing crisis, oh, we're in a rental crisis, and we don't take control of that. In addition, I will be incentivizing any school district that actually gets on the right path when it comes to public education, which includes incentivizing a trades-based route. But you can find all of my policies continuously updated at notaxingwithjackson.com.
Thank you, Payton. Yeah. That's a good message.
Thank you.
Hopefully that's very helpful for your local district to reach out, get information, and make a decision, based on that. And do they get a chance to talk to you in person? Do you do a lot of appearances?
I don't do any appearances. I don't do any meet and greets. The only type of event that I will be holding is one fundraisers. I believe all of them will be at gun ranges. So hopefully they're Pro 2A is going door to door.
Hmm.
Going door to door. I'm in neighborhoods, knocking on doors to have these small conversations. And even though I can't really fix anything locally, like standing water and the need for speed bumps and street signs or street lights and things like that, I'm more than willing to go down to our local agencies like City Hall, like County Commissioner, and fight for the things that these people see when they leave out of the front door.
Hmm. So if you win, you will prioritize the people in your district, and that will be the priority.
Absolutely, from a local to county to state and a federal level.
Mhm.
How often do you go to a gun range?
How often do I go to the gun range? Lately, it's been like twice a year because it's really time consuming with campaigning and working, and I'm a mom. But the gun range is my therapy. So I at least try to go twice a year, but I actually just went yesterday. So
I was actually going to ask you, outside of this stress of like campaign and all this work, like how do you vent or like how do you
Unwind.
unwind?
well, there's wine, but I love to read. Reading is a huge hobby of mine. My favorite book is either The Secret by Rhonda Bryan or the Rich Dad Poor Dad series. I'm a huge bookworm. I also like to run. Right now, my time for a mile is 9. I'm 9 minutes. I'm trying to get it down to 4 though.
You do like
Um,
local runs?
hmm?
Do you do like local runs, like charity runs or things like
I
5K?
haven't done a marathon yet. No, that's definitely on my bucket list. But no, I haven't done any type of marathon. But I run almost every day. Right now, my time is 9 minutes for a mile, but I'm trying to get it down to 4. And hopefully, well, eventually, I'll participate in one of these marathons that they have. They actually just had one in Fort Worth.
That's a that's a really challenging.
That's aggressive, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a toll on your body.
I'm like right now. I'm at a 40-minute mile.
Really? Oh, we gotta up that. We gotta change that.
I've done a half marathon and I thought my legs were going to be like paralyzed for weeks.
No, so I exercise pretty frequently, but I recently tried to become a cop.
Mhm.
And the course that they had, like the physical test that they had set up for this one agency, it did a number on me. Like I'm fit, don't get me wrong, but that's a different kind of fit. By the end of that 6 minute run, it wasn't just a run, it was like an obstacle run. But at the end of that 6 minutes, my legs, my whole body cramped up, but it was really my legs. I've never felt cramps like that ever in my life. So I'm fit and I'm definitely working towards it, but I'm definitely not perfect.
You got to do some of those tough mudder runs where there's like different
Right.
obstacles.
Right.
That'll get you ready for the police test.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably what they're come from. You know?
Were you
Yeah.
for like local PD or like state troopers or sheriff?
So no, the agency that I went for was actually DFW Airport Police. So it was local. It was local.
Interesting. Did you always thought about like maybe joining law? No, that's like a new thing.
Yeah, no. So I was actually raised to hate cops. It just, I don't know if it was just within my community or the Black community, but cops were no friend of ours. But lately, or not lately, but for the last few years, I just decided to, instead of going in the opposite direction whenever I would see a cop,
Mhm.
I now walk up to them and just hold small conversations and treat them like the human beings that they are. And now, after knowing that a lot of them are nice, I back the blue. But it goes to show you the judgment that some people in our society we have.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that every cop is good. That's not true.
Yeah.
But the message that I would like to convey is that every cop isn't bad.
Mhm.
So I give them the benefit of the doubt. But I can tell you this, after going through everything that I went through, I have a newfound respect for cops because it's not easy to become one at all.
Yeah. And not only to get past that stage and become a police officer, whether you're local PD, state trooper, sheriff, but the challenges, not just physical, but mental that you deal with afterwards with different encounters and what you see, and how to process that and then come back home to the family, right? So I definitely have respect. And we said this earlier. We had another interview. Every profession, every career has a bad apple. No one, job is perfect and doesn't have somebody that would make others look bad. I'm also in real estate. There are bad realtors. In construction, there's bad contractors. You name it, right? Even a bad doctor in some hospital, it's just flaws of people. We're humans. But is there another message or any other information you'd like to let listeners know, before we wrap it up?
No. District 33, we are officially back. I know I went missing for quite some time, but we're back. Back to take back our district, to lead with integrity, to lead with strength, and to get rid of career politicians. So let's go, District 33. Let's show Fort Worth how to vote.
Well, good luck, Payton.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you taking the time to be on here with us. And
thank you. God bless.